Welcome to another episode of the IC Lounge, a podcast that embraces the diversity of conversation. I am your host, Angela Washington, owner and founder of Imperial Consulting Services Group. The vision for the IC Lounge is to create a space where diverse voices are heard, where we challenge our perspectives, and where we emerge enlightened and inspired. It's a place for conversations that matter, the kind that leaves us with fresh insights and a greater sense of empathy for one another. Today's episode is the second in a three-part series, Shades of Identity, Unveiling Colorism's Impact on Society. And in this episode, we will dive into the effects of colorism on self-esteem and mental health, particularly young women, and discuss its association with other forms of discrimination. I am so excited about today's episode. With me are Francisca Arroyo and Michaela Jones, current college students, and Percy Hale, a recent graduate. These young ladies know what it feels like to encounter judgment based on their skin color and body image. So, I want each of you to tell me about a moment where colorism played a role in your life. So, Francisca, whom likes to be called Fran, right? Or is it Franny?
Fran, either way.
What's your preference on this show? We won't call you what you.
You can call me Fran.
Okay,
that's fine.
Fran.
Okay. So I am Francisca Arroyo from a small town named Hartselle, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Currently studying criminal justice with a concentration in legal studies. And to answer your question, growing up, I was always the kid who was like outcast because of my skin color, and also because my first language wasn't English, it's actually Spanish. So, you get made fun of a lot of it, you get looked at differently. So growing up, I was always the kid that was like, oh, you're weird because you're brown and you don't speak English. Yeah, so that's really kind of where it started off, was elementary school. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Michaela Jones. I'm currently a senior at the Alabama State University. I'm studying forensic biology. My colorism experience more so relates to body image. I have been, plus size girl pretty much all of my life. So I get, turned down a lot from different things that I wanted to do. My main purpose of coming to Alabama State was to be a part of the Honeybees. So yes, I did actually get a moment where I was able to try out and stuff like that. But my body image, being plus size, I haven't always been able to do what I want to do. There have been opportunities that I was rejected from just because I was a little heavier than most girls. Mm-hmm.
Hi everyone, I'm Percy Hale and I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I am a recent graduate of the University of Southern Indiana's class of 22. And I got my major in theater and a double minor in French and Africana Studies. So I guess in a weird way, I was fortunate enough to where colorism didn't really impact me until I went to college. Because I grew up in a fairly diverse city, Montgomery's fairly diverse. I went to school with people that look like me. I went to school with people of different races and ethnicities. So I kind of learned what a melting pot was early on. But when I went to school in Indiana, that was the first time where I experienced being a extreme minority. And on the flip side, that was the first time that the other people around me that were white experienced being around someone of color. So it was a lot of firsts going on. When I really experienced it, it was my first production that I did my freshman year, and it was an equity play, which is a big deal in the acting world, is when you get to work with professionals and everything like that. And I was cast as the parlor maid. It went over my head that being a black woman playing a maid played into a trope. But when I was talking to my director, he was very comforting, saying, that's not why we casted you as this role, but it's a filler role because you will be swinging as a lot of the major roles. So if we ever have to pull you, you can play a major role and we can cut the parlor maid role and it won't really affect the show. So I was okay, fine with the good. And when it came time for the adjudicator or the judge to come and critique the play so we could see whether or not it would be moved on to a festival, the other lady that played a maid, she was white. She had more speaking lines than I did, and the critique was just flawless from the judge. She was saying how earnest she was in her character, how truthful she was to the character. And I was like, okay, there's not much truth we could be with a maid, but go ahead. And when it came time to ask me about it, it was, so how did it feel being a black woman playing a maid? Not even the same question that was given to the other counterpart that played a maid. So that kind of sent me spiraling in my acting career and made me think, this is the first time I'm experiencing being a black actress. So that's kind of where it started for me.
Wow. Each one of you bring a unique and different perspective, and I'm excited, for our conversation as we delve deeper into those experiences that you all have encountered individually and how they actually mirror collectively as well. So our next question is, how do you think society's beauty standards impact your self-esteem and body image? I'm going to start with you, Michaela, because you spoke to that initially in your introduction. So talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned how you went out for a particular dance group. What happened with it? You said you had a brief stint with it, or just, if not that incident, just other things that may have affected, your in regards to the question as far as your self-esteem and body image.
Okay. In high school is when I tried out for my team, and I was told that I could only fulfill the position as a manager versus being someone that was actually on the team. So I got good into the position. I'm like, okay, well, at least I can come in and practice with the girls. Maybe I can try again next year. So that following year came, and I'm like, okay, I got a position. I've been practicing. My coach, I know the dances and everything, and I ended up not making it again. And I felt that it was because of my weight, because of course all of the other girls on the team were way smaller. So that definitely impacted me very, very hard in high school, because I was already dealing with, being bullied about my weight, and then not being able to pursue the things that I actually wanted to do in school. It was just a lot. So when I got here to ASU, I actually did make the honeybees. So I got my confidence back a little bit. But I didn't get to continue through the season. I ended up getting injured at the beginning of pre-drill, so I wasn't able to continue out with the team. But just knowing that I actually went out for it and I made it, it made me feel a lot better. So I started to get a little bit more confident with myself, because in high school I wasn't confident enough to do anything, just because I felt like I was too big. I didn't fit in with anything. So, and
thank God for opportunities such as that, the honeybees that ASU has for someone like you. And it's not to say you're different, but the fact that they created that outlet for other young ladies who aspire to be something or to be a part of something else. It gives you that opportunity, and you made it. And look at the success they have going on. They are all worldwide.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's fantastic. Yes, ma'am. Miss Fran.
So I, growing up as well, I was a plus size kid. I experienced a lot of bullying, you could say, from family members. That's where it came from. Sometimes the people closer to you hurt you more. And so that was my experience. Not only with that, but also growing up, I was also a lot darker than I am now. So it was always like, oh, you're just this chubby kid, just dark skin. So it played a big role in my self-esteem. Now that I'm in college and I have friends that really embrace me and really want me to do good, it's kind of building back up slowly but surely. Absolutely. But my family really would get into me a lot about, oh, why are you eating this? Maybe you should stop eating. And so I kind of developed a little bit of an eating disorder. So now sometimes I'll go a day without eating. And my friends, especially my best friend, they're like, you need to eat. And I'm like, I get it. But sometimes you have those moments where it just those comments just come back to you, and it's like, it just hits you. So
people don't understand words have power, you know, and I can relate to you from each one of you, honestly, because I'm more thicker than average, and it started with family for me as well, and that those are things that stick with you for a lifetime. You don't understand that you're a prisoner to those words of what others say to you. And it's so unfortunate because you want to believe differently, but those words that these other people say, and then if it's more than one person, you tend to believe that instead of what you deem to be a better option in regards to yourself. You know, see yourself in a more positive light. You tend to see the negative. It takes over. So I'm glad you do have a friend who's real with you and tell you, no, girl, you need to eat. You know, and I'm glad you found the outlet of and really college is a melting pot, and you get to see so many different people who look like you, and you don't feel like you are outcast or alone. So I'm glad you all have found those outlets for yourselves. What about you, ma'am?
Is it weird that I have the opposite? So I kind of experienced it on the opposite side of things. I've always been small all my life. And I remember I would get comments from family members, which not many people talk about, saying, you need to eat some more. I remember I would go and visit my dad's house, and I eat a lot, but I eat slow, one, and I eat in spurts. I love a good leftover. So I was like, okay, I'm going to eat some right now, then I'm going to put it back, and I'm going to eat some more, I'm going to put it back, I'm going to eat some more, put it back. They would pile my plate up with all these different things, and I'm like, y'all, I didn't ask for that. I asked for my beans, asked for some chicken, and some macaroni and cheese. That's it. But because I was so small, they wanted me to kind of fill out. And 23 years later, I still have not filled out, but that's okay.
It's definitely okay.
It is.
But even, you know, kind of looking at how social media now, you have the it girl that's curvy. She has a small waist and a big behind. I didn't get all of that. And so it was kind of me figuring out, okay, how do I become confident with what little I got? Make what you have work. And it was a weird spot to be in because nobody ever talks about it from the opposite end, or when you do talk about it, you're shushed. Because on the one hand, eat more because you're not big enough. But on the other hand, when you complain about being big enough, girl, people will kill to be your size. And so it's like, which one is it? Is people killing to be my size, or do I need to eat more? Like, what's going on?
So you know what? We know the answer to it. It's to embrace what you have.
Yes.
I mean, we all covet something or admire something about somebody else that we wish we had.
Right.
But, I mean, it would be boring if each one of you looked like the other.
Right.
I like the diversity that I'm seeing right now on my couch in the IC Lounge. I love it. Each one of you have a very different, unique perspective. Each one of you are beautiful. You understand what I'm saying? So do not let anyone tear you down because of their insecurities or their lacks. You understand? God made you unique for a purpose. So I love the fact that each one of you are bringing something totally different. This is divine, and I'm very grateful for this conversation. Tell me this. Have you noticed differences in treatment or attitudes based on skin tone among your peers? And we know in the media. So let's talk a little bit about that. Percy, if you could start us off on
Sure. We're kind of in a weird age where dark is in, but only in certain aspects. A lot of people love the quote-unquote ethnic look. So you have a weird place in the market where people are now wanting either the darkest they come, or they're wanting black features, but not on black bodies. Which is a weird space to be in. So, I mean, for me in marketing, I've always just kind of, similar to what we were just talking about, work with what I have. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, that's fine. It probably wasn't a project that was meant for me anyway. But it's kind of weird the way that society, the way that socials are kind of moving in that sense, because I've experienced it kind of in strange ways where there's probably an actor or actress that looks pretty is not the right word, has a lighter complexion, or has curlier ringlets of hair, and then here I come with my natural 4C hair, which I can't see.
Let me hold you right there. You said prettier. Who said her curlier or her lighter skin was pretty? See how you... we have to work on that. We have to really work on it because that is not beauty.
Yeah.
Who said that? You know,
Yeah.
what makes you not beautiful, or each one of you? I can't stand that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you caught yourself on this show.
Thank
you. Better remember that. And from here on out, correct yourself.
Yes,
no,
ma'am.
ma'am. You are beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can you read the question?
Sure. Have you noticed differences in treatment or attitudes based on skin tone among your peers or in media?
Okay, yes, definitely. I feel like sometimes I get the better end of the stick just because I'm a little brighter or, than my friends. I have a lot of darker skinned friends, and majority of my family is darker. So when I go out like with my cousins or I'm with my friends, they call it like pretty privilege, I guess, just because I'm light skinned. So I'll get free drinks or, getting into different areas and stuff like that.
Okay. That's another show.
But I definitely see the difference. I don't necessarily like it. I tend to kind of stay away from places or people who've put one of us like above each other. We're all equal. We all look good. So,
I love it. Yes, Miss Fran.
So I experienced a lot of it back in high school. Now that I'm in college, it's a lot different because majority of my friends are all black, and they all like to embrace each other in our features. So I'm really thankful that, God put them in my life because I feel like I was missing that. But in high school, it was really a lot of, because all my friends were white, even my best friend, or the person who called herself my best friend. It was hard. Sometimes it would be like, we would go shopping and I would try on, let's say like a nice royal blue kind of color. And I thought it looked good. And they're like, no, you shouldn't do that. It's not for you. And I'm like, okay. And this was like the girl who was supposed to be my best friend. Right. And I'm like, okay. I see where you're coming from. So I just kind of like stopped coming around as much. And then obviously everybody just starts acting different. They start acting funny. I get sly comments like, oh, it's because you're darker, you think you're better. No, it's not that. It's the simple fact that you don't respect me enough to really, care for how I'm feeling, or it's like you have this image in yourself of what beauty is, So I got to a point to where my senior year, I just kind of stayed to myself. That was really it. I would have conversations, I would talk to people, but it was really just to myself. And they were like, hey, would you like to go out? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna stay home. So, I kind of learned that, sometimes people who call yourself your friends or your best friend aren't really always who they are. So
you just have to find your people, and we also, you all are young adults, but even at my age, it doesn't require a circle of people to validate you. First, it comes within, and then if you have one person that you can bounce off of that truly values you as an individual, that's all you need. You know what I'm saying? So we get hung up in having an entourage, as we like to say. You don't need an entourage of people. That just causes more confusion, and then is it really genuine, So it's okay if it's just one person. I tell my daughter that you don't have to have a slew of people as your friend. You just need one. If you find just one good one, that's sufficient. So moving along. Have you ever had conversations with friends or family about colorism? And how did those conversations go? Have you all talked to any of your family and friends? Do y'all engage in that? And if so, what did that look like? If not, it's okay if you haven't. Nothing for you? No more than them wanting you to eat 3 pieces of chicken?
Speaking specifically about colorism, going back to the incident that I mentioned at the very beginning, where I was called out for being a black woman playing a maid. That was the fuse that ignited my whole campaign for the rest of the time that I was in college, to constantly go up to my professors, the chair, different teachers, and just saying, hey, you know, even though you don't have a black population that's big within your art department, you do have one. So what are you doing to service us? And one of the comments that we always got was that one thing they love to do was colorblind casting. I hate the term colorblind casting because it's not real. When I get on stage, like let's say Brandy playing Cinderella, we see Brandy and she's an amazing Cinderella, phenomenal, but we're seeing a black Cinderella, and we all take that into account. You know, there's only so much imagination can do, especially with the way that our society is set up, to where yes, we'll see the character, but we're going to see that version of that character as a black person or a Hispanic person or an Asian person, however. So when I was having that conversation, it was a difficult task for me to get them to see color blindness isn't real, so what are you going to do about it? In the sense of, I appreciate that you're wanting to disband the limits of the play or disband the limits of the work of art and say anybody can play it, because sure, anybody can play it. But what are we doing to ensure that you're actually truly being inclusive to the black person or the Asian person that's playing it, that's going to be truthful to them, to what their truth is, and it's not just, we have a black woman playing it, but I still need you to play to all the white stereotypes. I need you to play it as if we're not changing the color at all, because then that's still not truthful. So just having those conversations, sometimes you win them, sometimes you're kind of still met with that colorblind clash, and you have to kind of work harder to make them see it's not colorblind. I need you to do something better than colorblind. But in the end, I feel with the impact that I left, they at least saw that there was an issue and that there was a need for, if you're ever going to have black students or students of color in the future, have someone that's teaching them that looks like them, that can speak to their truth, that can help them to find what their truth is. That's true. Versus us continuously molding into a truth that doesn't belong to us.
I agree. I love that. Any of you like to add anything to that?
I would. I actually had a conversation with my friends about the new Black Panther movie, because it was featured with the actor Tenoch Huerta, and he's one of the people that I follow and I look up to, because he is of a darker complexion, and he is a Mexican actor. So he got casted to play, I forgot. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forgot. But he was one of the lead roles in the movie. And I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but it caused this really big controversy in Mexico. And obviously, you know, with TikTok, yes, and it was because of his skin color. So in Mexico, it obviously did this like really big thing, and it caused this big controversy and a whole issue, and it was all over like TikTok, social media, everything. And so I actually ended up going home one weekend, and my parents were like, what is all this commotion about this movie? I was like, oh, let's get into it. Like, I was really excited. And I'm like,
You're making the signs and everything.
Yes. So I told them, I was like, so the reason is because he is a darker skinned Mexican actor. I'm like, and the people who are lighter skinned don't like that. They say that he doesn't represent Mexico as a whole, that he's not for the people. And I was like, y'all are so wrong, because if like the way he likes to advocate for the kids who are of a darker skin complexion, because him growing like as an actor, he said the only parts he would ever get were like the boy who's cleaning up the house, you know.
Just what she said.
Yes. So he would always get those parts where it's like the stereotypical parts of like, you're a darker skinned Mexican man, these are your jobs kind of thing. So with him getting this lead role, it was like this really big thing. And he was like, no, he said, you know, I want to be that light for those kids who are of a darker skin complexion, that, you know, didn't have dreams. And, you know, like you see somebody who looks like you, and it's like, oh, well, if he did it, then I can do it too. And he's like, you know, he's for for the people, really. So he's one of the people that like I look up to and I like to follow, especially, you know. And I had that conversation with my parents, and they're like, well, that's kind of weird. I'm like, it is weird. I was like, but I'm happy that we're having this conversation. Right. I was like, because I was like, you guys may not notice it, but I do. I said, whenever we go to the store, what happens? I was like, we always have somebody following us around. I'm like, why do you think it is? And they're like, well, that's a shame. I said, it is, but that's the world that we live in. So, yeah.
It's ignorance. It's just true ignorance.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I know kind of how colorism works within the African American community. Of course, you know, lighter skin complexion people are more valued, society standards, than people of a darker complexion. Is it the same thing with the Hispanic community, or is it like reversed or stuff? Because I know caste systems and all that stuff in different cultures. How does that work with y'all?
It's the same. It really is. So growing up, my grandma used to take care of us when my mom would go to work. And she would always turn on her novelas, you know. And every actress or actor you would see was, the lead roles were obviously of a lighter complexion. So they're the people that would like have money, own the house, own land, and then your maids or the people that worked for you were those of a darker skin complexion. So then growing up, you're like, oh, well, that's kind of, you know, really? Are we really like that? Right. So it's almost the same. Yeah.
Gotcha. This is great conversation, and we will explore this more after this short break.
This episode of the IC Lounge is sponsored in part by the Benny Choice Companies, a benefits and financial choices company, helping companies navigate the ever-changing healthcare industry by choosing the benefits plan that meets their needs. For more information, visit BennyChoiceCompanies.com. And the Eisler family, supporting work that promotes a more inclusive community. Siraj Family Homes believes in stability, safety, and permanency for all children. To learn about our programs, training opportunities, and services for prospective foster or adoptive parents, call 334-271-2402 or visit sirajfh.com. Want to transform your workplace environment? Imperial Consulting Services Group collaborates with organizations of any size to build diverse, inclusive, tech-driven workplaces through fostering responsible leadership and cultivating engaged employees. We offer DEI and belonging consulting and training, strategic planning, and professional, organizational, and design services. Put our proven strategies to work for you. Schedule your appointment today at imperialcsg.com.
Welcome back to the IC Lounge as we continue our conversation about body image and colorism. All right, ladies. So you mentioned you left off talking about someone you admire, which is an actor that starred in the Wakanda movie. And he had a very prominent role from that. So let's talk a little bit more about that with the other two ladies. Are there any role models or public figures you admire for challenging colorism and promoting inclusivity? Is there anyone you all can think of or that stands out to you? What about you, Percy? You have anything that comes to mind? And it's okay if you don't at the moment. That's fine.
It's very basic of me, but Beyonce.
Oh, you're a beehive.
I'm a heavy beehive. I love Beyonce. Even though she is of a lighter complexion, I appreciate all of the work she's done in her career recently, and really beforehand, but heavily recently, on including everyone with body image, with just exploring and including every color. When Brown Skin Girl came out, I think if it was a record, I would have played it till like the little record tape would have came out, because it was just heavily in rotation, heavy in my get ready, because it was just so fun and so uplifting. It was rare that we ever heard something in music talking about darker skinned women. For the longest, it was like a long head, thick red bone, something about being a lighter complexion. If she's darker, we don't want her. And this was the first time we had an anthem that was just for us. So I loved it. I love the work she's been doing with including, especially on the Renaissance tour, including dancers of all shapes, of all sizes, all races. I love it. I love it. I just really look up to how she is using her platform to make space for people that we don't always see in those spaces.
Absolutely. I agree.
I'm gonna agree with Beyonce. Yes, definitely, because
You're a dancer, you're a little partial to that.
yes, there was definitely a lot of plus size inclusivity on the tour.
Yes,
I like that. So yeah, Beyonce definitely, she includes everybody.
Yes, she's an awesome performer. I got to be a part of the Renaissance tour myself, and that was a great experience to see that. That was cool. So let me ask you guys this. What strategies do you use to build your self-confidence and resist negative messages about skin color? Or are we still working on some things? And it's okay. If you don't have strategies yet, it's okay. We're still working on it. We're all work in progress, by the way, okay? So.
I can say personally, I'm still working on it. I feel like it's gotten better over the years. I think I started working on it more heavily now that I'm in college, really. Because, like I said, so growing up with family, there's one person in particular who would always just like tear me down. And she still does to this day. She happens to be one of my aunts. And now, you know, I was raised with like, respect your elders, don't talk back, you know.
That's right.
But it's gotten to a point to where I'm starting to realize, well, if you're not respecting me or showing me any respect, why should I have to do the same for you? I understand you're an older person and you're an aunt and all, but at the end of the day, there's a fine line with like getting respect and receiving respect. So she'll make a sly comment about, oh, well, you look like you're too dark. You need to stay out of the sun. And I'm like, well, I don't think I'm dark enough. I think I'm just going to lay out in the sun one day and just bake, you know? And they take it as like, oh, you're being disrespectful. No, I'm just answering you with a smart comment for once.
I had a great aunt, Larissa. So now she used to tell me every chance she could get, you need to wear a girdle, a body shape. I'm like, I'm not going to be stuffed up every day because you want to do that. You know, she was a little petite lady, but back then they believed in dressing up every day, 7 days a week. She had a hat on and some suits. And then she would have on her little shapewear, and she's like, girl, you need to put on a girdle. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I will not be stuffed up in it. And I do. No offense, followers. I do wear Spanx. The girl loves them, but not every day. Not every day.
I can relate to that. My grandma on my dad's side, she does not like how I dress at all because I'm bigger. But I mean, I feel like I put my Spanx on, I wear a good bra, and I come out the house with what I want to. I feel comfortable. So I mean, that's one way that I keep up with my confidence myself. I put myself out there. Like I go outside of my comfort zone, and if something doesn't look cute, I'm gonna take it off. But I push myself to like, okay, well, you don't have to just wear slacks and t-shirts every day because you're big. Like, no, you can dress how you want to dress.
What is big though, Michaela?
Not necessarily big, but plus
Let's
size.
work on these words. Yes.
Plus size. I might not be the ideal size to wear what she may think, but that's
But you somebody.
I'm somebody cup of tea, definitely. Somebody like it.
There you go. So let's break these stereotypes today, honey. Y'all think about these words before they come out your mouth. And if I happen to say it as your host after preaching to you, remind me, okay? As we get ready to bring it to a close. So talk to me, ma'am.
Same thing. I just put myself out there, and don't feel bad. My mama thinks she done raised something out the street sometimes.
Don't you do that.
But no, I mean, I just put myself out there. Especially now, of course, my hair is sometimes too much to deal with. But whenever I do wear my natural hair, I just go and wear it all out in an afro.
And it's beautiful when you do.
Thank you. I take time to, like, when I take pictures, or if I'm just kind of doing a little airbrush, because sometimes you need a little touch on it. I noticed that the filter make it lighter, and I'm like, I didn't ask for that. So I'll take that filter and I'll go over it and make it a little bit darker.
Turn the contrast.
Because I like it when my skin
when my skin is
when
popping.
it shines and it's full color. Don't take no saturated. I want all that color. I want all that melanin. So I just put myself out there, and what I've actually noticed is now that I've started embracing more, embrace wearing my natural hair more, embrace really wearing makeup less. Not there's anything wrong with makeup, because I love a good beat face, but just embrace. But whenever I just embrace me and my raw, authentic self, I get a lot of positive feedback.
I feel that way too.
Hold on. So y'all like that? Y'all like when I wear my hair out? So I think what attracts it more, people are attracted to the confidence that comes behind.
Yes, that's what it
More than
is.
anything.
That's the key.
I definitely agree. I feel like I get more engagement, more interactions on my post when I'm wearing something and I feel more confident. I like to take pictures. I'm photogenic. My Instagram, I take pride in my Instagram. Yes, I love to get dressed and put on clothes, so I feel like when I'm in that element and I'm like, okay, this is a cute fit, I'm gonna post, I get more likes. Just it's no filters, no nothing. It's just me. Yeah.
Well, ladies, this is going to be our wrap-up question here. What advice would you give to these teenagers and other young women like yourselves who might be struggling with their own experiences of colorism? What's something you would tell them? Although we are all a work in progress, what's something that you would say maybe that you have found to be of help to you? Something else that we may not have touched on or you may have shared already? Is it some little tidbit you could share?
I would say really embrace yourself, regardless of your background. Growing up, there was a point where I was like, man, I really wish I was blonde hair, blue eyed, but then I started realizing no, you are who you are for a reason. And sometimes I started wearing more of my traditional clothing, and I love when I do it because I feel like it's this is me, this is who I am. Sometimes I'll get a little a weird look, but at the end of the day I'm like, maybe you just look at me that way because you want to wear what I wear. Right. You just can't rock it the same way I do because it's just not, it's not you. So I would say really embrace and tap into your inner self to bring that out. And if you can, find some really good friends or one person. I have my one particular person who's like, yes, you look good. Yes, do this. And she kind of pushes me to get out of my comfort zone, which I'm really enjoying, by the way, because I never would think that I would be sitting here doing this. So,
kudos to you, girl. Yes. Keep stepping out of your comfort zone.
I will, yes,
it's okay.
One thing I would say is to, like I said, be yourself. Just be you. People are going to like your authentic self way more than they are going to like you trying to fit in or, anything like that. I don't know, just be yourself. That's it. You're not, like we said earlier, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. So somebody is going to like you for you. Somebody's going to, just your friends, family, everybody, they're going to like you for being your authentic self. So just be yourself.
Love it.
I would say embrace what's real, because 9 times out of 10 we're getting all this from social media, and social media is not even real. Like even the magazines we're seeing, I know we're seeing it a lot now where people will show what the actual picture was the photographer took versus the picture that the company used as the cover photo, and so it's not real. Embrace what is real to you. Embrace what the color is, your hair is, your body type. because we're in an age now, everybody's loving it. Everybody's loving how you're rocking it because it's you that's rocking it. So embrace what you know is real for you and don't focus on what is being presented to you because it's not real.
That's true. Thank you, ladies, for being with me today.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. In this episode, we look to inspire, encourage, and empower our young listeners with the tools needed to be accepting of their natural being. A person should be valued based on their unique abilities, talents, and potential. Our young people are more than their skin color and what TV and social media deem to be beautiful. We are living in a highly virtually influenced society. So much so that it has confused our young people as to what's false versus reality. Let's be more celebratory of their achievements and aspirations, but more importantly, emphasize the importance of equality and respect for all. If you have a story to share, send us an email at info@icdiversity.com or through our website at imperialcsg.com. Contact us. Join us again next time for another thought-provoking episode of the IC Lounge. Remember, every shade has a story, and words have power. Thank you.
Promotional consideration is provided by the following sponsors: Layla Ghostin Realty, KW Montgomery, Evening Out Formal Wear, and Andre Reed and Associates.